Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Throne Room, and right now we're going to go over just a couple things about Melisandre, the Red Priestess, and the Lord of Light, and just getting more in depth into who Melisandre is. So this is who is Melisandre. What does she bring to the Game of Thrones? How long has she been, into this scene of helping the North? Let's see more about her. We want to learn everything that we have to learn, because in season 7 and 8, those will be the last times that we talk about the Game of Thrones. So just so that you know, I actually do cover other shows. I will be covering in a few days, for the first time, Outlander, and you'll get more information about Outlander. And I think you'll love it. If you haven't watched Outlander on Stars, you can actually subscribe to Amazon. I actually will be covering them. So if you want more information about a Game of Thrones type era, then this is the show for you, everyone. But ultimately, let's go over it. Now, Melisandre is the Red Priestess of the Lord, and she actually does represent the Red Priestess. She wears all this stuff that's red, whatever, who cares. But the Lord of Light is a deity that actually is the one she's worshiping in Westeros. And she does come from Ashai, a country located in the far east of the continent of Essos. She actually claims to wield a powerful magical, ability to provide prophecy. And she also does wear that large ruby necklace that turned into that old lady that was kind of creepy. I was just like, okay, put it back on, honey. Put it back on. Don't do it again. But some years ago, she did go ahead and cross the narrow sea, and she came to court, with the Lord Stannis Baratheon on the island's stronghold of Dragonstone to preach her faith. Now, Stannis, the majority of his household have now, they did convert to her religion, and she did become a close advisor to Stannis himself. So in that case, she was kind of like what the Maesters do, but she was doing too much. I think that she kind of went too far with trying to sacrifice his child. I probably would have threw her out on her face, but I don't get that. So maybe there's more, to the story than that. So let's go on. So basically, what happens is, it's a beach island. Dragonstone is kind of like a beach island, and Melisandre does conduct a ceremony for her god. Now, the Lord of Light was the statues that were of the 7 that were behind her during the scene of the 7. She's burning them, and those are the ones that are widely worshipped in Westeros. So as we can see, she's kind of letting you know, as her opening scene, she's not for them. And she might be about 400 years old, just so that you know. That's how old she might be. So she's an old lady, as you've seen when she took off the amulet. She isn't who she says she is. Now, behind her, the statues of the 7 widely worshipped in Westeros are burning as offerings. She intones the night is dark and full of terrors, and the crowd of onlookers repeat her words. And Melisandre predicts the heavy darkness that would fall over the world in the wake of the king, the long summer. So that's talking about the Night's King. Talking about all about the Night's King, and that stars would bleed while the cold breath of winter would freeze the seas. And then she goes off and says, the dead will rise in the north. So she's already burning the seven, the faith of the 7, and that might represent the 7 kingdoms. That's just, I don't know. Let's just see what's going to happen next. Obviously, season 7 has yet to come. This is just a breakdown about who she was in season 2, what she did, and what was the main points of that, and how that can actually predict the future about her, what's going to happen next for her, what her moves might be possibly. So, what's happening here is that in that scene, there was a Maester Crescent that steps in front of her and interrupts the ceremony, reminding the crowd that they were named in the light of the 7. And she dismisses him as old and fearful and challenges him to stop her. But he can't. So walks away from everything, and then she continues preaching with the story of burning sword Lightbringer. She also calls Stannis forward, and he withdraws a flaming sword from the statue of the mother with a gloved hand. His men cheer him as he holds the sword aloft, and then kneel as he thrusts the sword into the sand. They chant, "Lord, cast your light upon us." Davos is the last to kneel as Melisandre responds, the night is dark and full of terrors. So, with her, she really feels like, everyone should follow her. She kind of already knew that Davos was someone that would, he's an adversary to her, but she kind of has to put up with him. And I'm not really sure why she does. But, if she has all this power, why does she let him keep going if she knows that he's against her? But she did tell Jon Snow, that she would help him win the war, and that she would help him win the war against the White Walkers. So maybe her actual big picture is bigger than Davos and bigger than that, and she's not concerned with that. But we'll see about that. Now, basically what happens is, I think Stannis was just mesmerized by her beauty, and loved what she was bringing to the table, and what he wanted was to be the king. And so she told him everything that he wanted to hear. Okay, and so that made Davos, kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to be the one that's going to rule, and then he would be the one to claim the Iron Throne. And it's a strange situation. Now, what happens after that? People were challenging the legitimacy of Joffrey, Baratheon, and the other children that she produced in incest between Jaime and Cersei Lannister. So, a lot of times with these situations, word gets out, and it kind of got to Stannis. So he had the rightful claim over the Iron Throne because of the illegitimacy of the children. Now, Davos counsels that House Lannister at that time is a true enemy and urges Stannis to make peace with his younger brother, Renly Baratheon. And Stannis says that he will not make peace with Renly because he was claiming the throne that he wanted. So that's how all of this started. So it was a lot of infighting because he already wanted to be the king. He's being told he's going to be the king. So I think he looked at Melisandre's power as a way for him to get this throneship, no matter what he had to do to get it. Now, Davos also said at that time that many lords have already declared that Renly, Mace Tyrell, and Randall Tarley, were also including him to be the king, So there really wasn't much that he could do after that. And at that time, during that conversation, Melisandre interjects that Stannis does not need to beg lords for support because the Lord of Light has stood behind him and all of that. So Davos is like, okay, whatever. And Davos asks how many ships the Lord of Light can command, and Melisandre says that he has no need for ships. And Davos accepts that he does not. Davos accepts that he does not have the ships, obviously, because this person that Melisandre believes in is not who he believes in, obviously the Lord of Light, and says that they actually, in this case, I feel like Davos asked Stannis to consider Robb Stark instead of Renly, and Stannis counters that Robb is trying to steal the northern half of the kingdom, and reminds Davos that at that time, he had always been firm with thieves, and he says that Joffrey, Renly, and Robb are all thieves, and that they must bend the knee to him or be destroyed. So in that situation, that was just the first part of the Red Woman's entrance into the Game of Thrones, which was season 2. Okay, and that was season 2 that this all happened, and she was just letting Stannis be empowered by his narcissistic ways. That's just me personally. I just think that's what was going on. And then he drinks the cup with Melisandre, and then Crescent steadies himself on the table, and his nose begins to bleed because he had drank the poison. So that's one of the things that he tried to, make her drink poison. And Crescent's the maester that was actually in that area well before Melisandre got there. He's someone that knows Stannis and his family quite well, and he felt compelled to challenge her with the cup. His nose started bleeding because Melisandre didn't die from it. So I'm not sure about the fact that actually do things that